Germs and viruses get trapped in your nose. Now there's a simple, easy, and effective way to clean your nose and protect your health. It's called Navage. Available at Navage.com.
737. Worried about basement flooding? It's time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. Let's get an update on the roads in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. In for Jim, Julie Cronus.
Looking at the area tollways, the Tri-State northbound to the Eisenhower, that ramp is full with traffic. And the Jane Addams eastbound between River Road Toll Plaza and the Kennedy, stop and go. Reagan Memorial westbound is slowing from the Eisenhower to the Tri-State, and I-80 eastbound is slowing up again from Chicago to Richards. Going on the Stevenson inbound 355 to Lakeshore Drive is 29. Outbound's looking fine. The Eisenhower inbound from 390 to the post office, that's going to take you 48 minutes. And 33 from Wolf. Outbound is a little slow from Des Plaines to 5th. And outbound to 390 is 29 minutes. That's traffic. I'm Julie Cronus on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Variable clouds. Showers late this afternoon, high 75. Currently 64. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
I appreciate your program. It's the best in the morning in Chicago.
On AM 560.
I just heard the most sane 60 seconds of analysis I've ever heard on this issue. So
thank you.
Well done, brother.
The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Economists surveyed by Dow Jones had been looking for 720,000 new hires in August. And the Labor Department announcing just a few minutes ago 235,000. So about 500,000 short of the estimates. Pretty disappointing. And this despite the fact that we know from NFIB, National Federation of Independent Business, their chief economist, William Dunkelberg, that businesses want to hire. 66% of NFIB businesses surveyed, 66% reported hiring or trying to hire in August, which is up 5 points from July. The number of unfilled jobs remains far above the 50-year average. Finding qualified employees remains the problem. 91% of those surveyed as hiring or trying to hire cannot find qualified applicants. Time to fire up guest worker program stat, seems to me. If we got Americans, thanks to the federal government in part, thanks to our educational system in part as well, who don't want to fill those openings. This is lunacy. Just the government just hammering the labor market and every other market. By the way, the unemployment rate, despite that disappointing jobs reports, unemployment rate ticked down 0.2 of a point because, why? Fewer people are looking for work.
Right. They'll just rather suck off the government. And that extra $300 a month or a week from Illinoisans, that ends soon.
58% labor participation. For more on this, please be joined by Mark Perry, professor of economics and finance at the University of Michigan, and Carpe Diem blogger for American Enterprise Institute. His Carpe Diem blog is always great material, particularly for those with an interest in all matters economic. Mark, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, hi, Dan. Hi, Annie.
What's your reconciliation of the desire to hire and the lack of job creation?
Yeah, well, as you're saying, you know, they're creating disincentives for people to get back to work. I'm in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and everywhere I go, I see, you know, help wanted signs, and restaurants close early. They have limited menus. I was just in the Orlando airport a couple of days ago at the Outback Steakhouse in the Orlando airport. They only have 5 items on the menu, no steak, just microwave sandwiches because they can't get enough workers. I think here's the key number that people should also be aware of. Compared to the peak employment in February 2020, we're down almost 6 million jobs. It's actually, we have 5.7 million fewer jobs today than we did just about a year and a half ago. So that's the gap that we really need to fill to get back to, you know, kind of full employment. And yet, when we're only creating 235,000 jobs in August, it's going to take a long time to get back to that peak before the pandemic. So we got a long way to go, and the government's really not doing anything to help, and they're really hurting job creation because of the extended unemployment benefits and so on. So
here's a bit more of a summary too of where we're at from our friend James Perry over at Arbor Research. Air traffic negative for 3 months in a row. Open table restaurant bookings negative by 10% from pre-pandemic levels. Hotel occupancy down every week for 5 weeks in a row. Pending home sales minus 12% year to date. ADP employment report says it will take 23 months to get jobs where they should be. Peak autos, peak housing, peak inflation, peak, a boo. Something's coming.
Hey, we got a long way to go, and again, the government's not helping. They're hurting the recovery. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but yeah, we're looking at, talking about a number of years really to get back to that employment level. So that's kind of disappointing, and hopefully it'll be a slow path back to full employment again, but it's just going to take a long time, and it would help if the government got out of the way.
And are U.S. firms outsourcing factory jobs overseas?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, as I reported recently there's a lot of outsourcing and a lot of insourcing. So that's just part of the global economy that people don't always get that full picture. That U.S. firms are outsourcing jobs all over the world because a lot of companies have more sales outside of the U.S. than they do inside the U.S. 95% of the consumers are outside of the U.S. So it would make sense for a lot of U.S. firms to manufacture products outside of the U.S. because that's where their markets are. It also makes a lot of sense for foreign firms to employ Americans. And so, as I reported, there's almost 8 million jobs in the United States who are American workers working for foreign companies who have affiliates in the United States. In the state of Illinois, where you guys are at, there's 381,000 jobs who are Illinois workers who are working for a foreign company that has either an office or a factory in the state of Illinois. And there's like 1,900 foreign companies that have offices or manufacturing facilities in the state of Illinois. So every state in the country benefits significantly from foreign investment, foreign companies. Think of the auto business as the easiest way for people to understand it. You've got BMW, Mercedes, Honda, Volkswagen, Toyota. They're all manufacturing cars in the United States because this is where their markets are. And so those are the jobs that are insourced. So it's foreign companies producing their products in the United States. And that has a significant impact on the U.S. economy. It's, what did I report here? That it's, over 6% of private sector employment are U.S. workers working for a foreign company that has an affiliate or some office or a factory in the United States. So those are the insourced jobs that, as I said, we steal from other countries, but then also U.S. companies employ foreign workers in foreign markets. And that's just, again, the global economy. That's how it works.
Getting back to policymakers and the distortions that the spendthrifts in D.C. are creating, Wall Street Journal had a nice summary on where we're at. In part, the U.S. government has been issuing hundreds of billions of dollars in debt to help states and localities that are rolling in record tax revenue and can borrow at negative real rates. Now Congress wants to borrow even more for public works that many states could finance more cheaply. Only in Washington does this make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of crazy what's going on in Washington with the spending and the debt and the money creation, the huge increase in the money supply, which now is starting to fuel inflation. So a lot of fiscal mismanagement and monetary policy mismanagement. And again, that's not really a good solution for, a recovering economy and to get back to where we were with just taking on all this debt, and so that is worrisome.
It's also the distortions that have sort of a daisy chain effect too. So it's not just we're going to print money to do public works projects that states could finance themselves. By the way, we're going to do that by quote unquote taxing the rich, and now you have the rich rushing into muni bonds because they're tax exempt in a way that treasuries and corporate bonds are not. So you're creating a distortion in terms of where capital is being placed it not being placed where it could have its highest best use in terms of productivity, but only as a tax shelter.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is that the government does create a lot of distortions, and then often those distortions then, create the incentive later to have other government programs to correct the previous distortions. And then you're just on this, socialism on the installment plan, where you're just gradually getting more and more government involvement, and then government trying to fix their previous mistakes. And it's the road to serfdom. So that's what we have to be concerned about, is this kind of mismanagement in Washington and all of this debt and all of this money creation. It's not a good, prescription for, success of the economy going forward in the long run.
What's your take on the implications? And speaking of distortions, these are self-imposed distortions to keep up with the culture. These ESG funds, environmental social governance funds, the woke funds, basically, and the corporate virtue signaling that we're going to look at other things than the bottom line when it comes to the governance of companies. There was a good riff on this by the Ross Rant guy, Joel Ross, Citadel Realty. And he was talking about how these ESG funds, are purportedly doing well and doing good, but a lot of this, in terms of the sustainability claims that are made by some of these funds, he thinks this is a sort of a flim-flam operation that has the potential to end badly, much like derivatives based on housing bonds did in 05 to 07, for example. And I wonder what your take is on sort of the political decision making as it pertains to bottom line with these companies and funds.
You're completely misguided, and it's a real distortion again of the market. And I mean, firms are in business to serve consumers, not to advance social agendas or virtue signaling. So I think that's another very troubling trend, and the SEC is kind of maybe going to have some guidelines on that, but then companies would never know exactly what goals they're supposed to meet. So again, I think that's just social justice, penetrating into the financial system, and completely unnecessary. Again, the firms, whoever it is, Amazon or Yahoo or Ford Motor Company, they're not supposed to be advancing social causes. They're supposed to just be building cars and better cars for consumers. And so this whole ESG trend, I think, again, it's very misguided. It's very troubling. I think it's going to just distort the financial markets. And we're probably not going to be able to stop it. I think that trend's going to continue, but I'm very much opposed to the ESG movement in finance.
He is Mark Perry, professor of economics and finance, University of Michigan. Also, Carpe Diem blog. Check it out at the American Enterprise Institute site. Carpe Diem blog is worth reading routinely. Mark Perry, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Amy.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you purchasing a new home and are tired of getting your offers declined? Then you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender who will always look out for your financial best interest. Your offers are being rejected because they don't stand out. That's why you need to call Team Hochberg to learn about our 21-day close. Your next offer will stand out when the seller knows Team Hochberg will have your loan done within 21 days of home inspection and attorney review. A cash offer is the only offer stronger than a Team Hochberg 21-day close. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners purchase a home, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56diva.com. For more information about how you can make your next offer stand out with a Team Hochberg 21-day close, call 855-56DAVID or visit 56diva.com. That number again, 855-563-2843 or visit 56diva.com. Homeside Financial Closing Lender, NLS 112-4061.
All right, got a great night's sleep last night, all because of MyPillow and the MyPillow Giza Dream bed sheets. Those are spectacular. If you haven't tried them yet, oh, you'll love them if you do. And they come in a variety of colors and sizes. California King, king size. Yes, they have it all at MyPillow. In fact, there's 111 items for sale at MyPillow.com. And when you check out, be sure to use the promo code Amy. I recently got the MyPillow My Slippers, And right now, Mike Lindell is offering 50% off the MyPillow My Slippers. They're beautiful. You can wear them indoors and outdoors. They're comfortable. They're made with MyPillow foam and impact gel to help prevent fatigue, and made with quality leather suede. These are the real deal, folks. Give them to someone for a birthday gift or treat yourself to some. MyPillow.com, and be sure to use promo code Amy.
Famous conservative quotes presented by Automated Systems.
A quote from Winston Churchill: "The main vice of capitalism is the uneven distribution of prosperity."